Test, test. I'd like to call this September 23rd, 2025 meeting of the Northfield Township Board of Trustees to order. Please observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance at the rear. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Manley, can you please call roll?
Olney. Here. Moko. Here. Donner.
Here.
Peck.
Here.
Otto.
Present.
Manley. Here. Roman.
Here.
All here.
Thank you. Make a motion to approve the minutes from September 9th and dispense with reading. Supported by Chick. Any questions, comments on that? Corrections? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Make a motion we approve the consent agenda as presented. Supported by Chick. Any questions, comments on those?
I had one. Just one quick question.
Go ahead.
The township manager provided an update in regards to the employee handbook. I just wanted to let you know that we updated the employee handbook. It has been with Stacy Belisle for months to review, and we've never gotten any feedback back or anything. So if there are any changes or anything, I think we had one thing that we updated and we approved it and everything, and beyond that, Stacy still has it all. So I just wanted to let you know that.
McDonald? All good?
Yep, all good, thanks.
Any others? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Make a motion we adopt the balance of the agenda. Supported by Manley. Any questions, comments on that? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Petitions, communications. Anyone wish to address the Board of Trustees tonight may do so now for a period of 3 minutes. Anyone? Other than the public, or the public hearing. No one? Not now. I mean, that's okay. Seeing none, we'll move on. In that case, there's no board member comments or clarifications. No correspondence tonight. We do have a public hearing. Item is consideration of a rezoning request from Chris and Nick Marinkovich to rezone the subject property located at 955 East North Territorial Road from RTM Research Technology Manufacturing District to LI Limited Industrial District. The subject has an area of 6.1 acres and has a parcel ID number of B0220100020. In that case, I will make motion to open the public hearing. Support by Otto. Mr. Marinkovich, if you'd like, come up to give us an overview.
Nick Marinkovich, 328 6 Mile Road, Whitmore Lake. Good evening. Like I said, my name is Nick Marinkovich. My family and I own and operate Quality Air Systems, a mechanical company specializing in HVAC and sheet metal fabrication. Our company started in my father's garage in 1994 in Canton. As the business grew, we rented our first shop in Plymouth in 1996, which was about 1,200 square feet. In 2009, we moved to a 7,200 square foot pole barn on Earhart Road in Northfield Township. By 2017, we expanded again into our current 13,300 square foot space on 6 Mile Road. Over the years, we've invested millions into machinery, labor, and materials to expand our ductwork manufacturing. But our current site is surrounded by residential homes, and space has become a major challenge. We've even tried to add a cold storage building, but with the wetlands and zoning restrictions, that made that nearly impossible. So the next step for us was to try to look for more square footage or possibly a different building. That's where the 955 East North Territorial building caught our attention. It's in an industrial setting. It's over 35,500 square feet. That doubles the space we have now. Checks all the boxes for our continued growth while keeping our business right here in Northfield Township, which is our goal. At the last Planning Commission meeting, conditional rezoning was suggested as a possible solution by a member of the PC. And after further research, we feel this may be the best path forward because it allows us to expand while addressing concerns raised about limited industrial zoning. We are willing to accept conditions, including eliminating Connex boxes, permanently storing on-site properly, and closing any metal bins per township standards, which we are currently doing, so we know how that goes, and storing 99% of our materials indoors, as that seemed to be, one of the biggest hindrances, and no heavy equipment stored outside. So basically, in summary, we simply just need more space to support the continued growth of our family-owned business. Conditional rezoning makes this possible while ensuring our operation remains clean, professional, and fully compatible with the character of the corridor. So thank you for your time and your consideration. Just note we are trying to stay here. We employ over 90 employees that, we're trying to keep around here. So that's all I got. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right, good evening. My name is Linda Pomorski, and I'm also speaking in behalf of Quality Air. After the last Planning Commission meeting, one of the members brought up the idea of conditional rezoning. Since we understand the full use of light industrial can be concerning, we feel this approach would benefit everyone. With the new location, Quality Air would no longer need to keep Connex boxes permanently stored outside. To better understand this fit into the area, we took the time to drive around and look closely at the businesses surrounding Arvinsango. What I saw was a clear picture of the character of this corridor. The Nova Business Building development is for marijuana grow and processing facilities, which is approved to the site plan for condos and stores right next door. Directly across from Arvinsango is the DTE Poplar substation, which has outdoor storage of dumpsters, scrap metals, wires, mulch, commercial trucks. To the east is the United Technical and Creative Automation Center, which the United Technical provides consulting, lab testing, welding engineering, and Creative Automation designs, builds, and customs automation systems. Both companies use large storage bins and dumpsters behind their buildings. Also, the east is the Balance Technology Building, which engineers and manufactures precision management or measurement and testing equipment, which this high-tech facility has minimal outside storage for shipping and receiving. For this review, it's clear the corridor already supports the variety of industrial businesses, which of many include outdoor storage and large-scale operations. By comparison, Quality Air will bring upgraded equipment for duct manufacturing with operations conducted indoors cleanly and quietly. The new facility is 3 times larger than the current location, which means they can store the vast majority of the materials inside. Any minimal outdoor storage, such as scrap metal bins, will be properly screened and covered to maintain a professional appearance, which remain consistent with the township expectations. So that's why we're proposing a conditional rezoning instead of the opening the doors to every LI use. They're willing to tailor the rezoning specifically to the Quality Air operations and protects the township while giving a local community-based business the room it needs to grow. So before making a final decision on approval or denial, please consider these new change to the zoning request and have this brought back in front of the Planning Commission. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the public hearing? I make a motion we close the public hearing.
I'll support.
Support by Otto. All in favor and support indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, so we'll get into discussion. Approve with conditions or deny rezoning request for 955 East North Territorial Road. Anyone like to start or have questions? Mr. Only?
Could you share what planning commissioner brought up the recommendation for a conditional rezoning?
Please step up. Yeah,
So, are you asking which one it was?
Yes.
I do not know his name, but it was briefly talked about, and I believe, Ms. Chick, you were in that meeting with us. It was bounced back and forth between Vidya and a gentleman that I want to say was sitting where Ms. Otto would be sitting.
okay.
I just have some concerns with that because any township board member, committee member giving you alternate recommendations on what to do there's some legal issues there. As a township, as boards, as committees, we're not in the business of giving recommendations of how to go about things. We're here to make decisions on your applications. And if we're making recommendations on how to achieve a certain thing, there's some legal issues there that I'm concerned with, and our planner is also concerned with.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and just to add, I mean, tonight you're here for the rezoning request that you initially put in.
Yes.
So we couldn't address that tonight regardless,
Okay.
just so you know. Ms. Chick?
Yeah, that was my comment as well. What the Planning Commission actually considered and determined was based on your original request, not a conditional rezoning. So would that have to go back to the Planning Commission as a conditional rezoning?
It would have to go back to the planning consultant
Yes.
at that point.
Okay, so if that's something you want to pursue, you would have to do that. We could not make a decision on that here tonight.
Okay.
So anyone else? So while you're there, oh, go ahead, Mr. Moko.
I don't see any issue as a resident to resident, if someone asks a question, talking to them about that. There's nothing legally binding, nothing like that. If
So,
anybody comes and asks me something, I'll give them my honest opinion.
so if you're provided information from an applicant or an applicant's representatives.
It's all public knowledge.
Hold on. Outside of a public meeting with everybody present, you're privy to information that the entire board didn't get. And any communication that goes back and forth, there is a legal issue with that. If I'm
Are you
having,
a lawyer?
we just had a meeting with our planner that went over all this. If you have any communication with an applicant or applicant's recipient outside of a board meeting that has to do with that, then there are legal issues. Ex parte communication, and whether you think that's correct or not, that's exactly, please wait, please wait. That's exactly what we went over in our workshop meeting, that you cannot receive information from an applicant or an applicant's representative outside of this meeting, because then you have information that the rest of the board doesn't have, and you're making a decision based on information that maybe everybody doesn't have. If you're having a conversation with somebody, yes, I know you're applying for this, good luck. That should be the end of your conversation. Anything else that they want to provide to you, thank you for the information. Because now we have people sitting on this board that have been provided information or conversations with the applicant and the applicant's representatives that not all of us have had. And that is a legal issue. And if the planner was here tonight, they would tell you that same exact thing. I had a phone call with our planner tonight.
Without the whole board knowing?
With our planner's not an applicant.
Okay, I
Our
just wanna make
planner's not
sure.
an applicant. Like, you're trying to cross lines here that don't exist. There is a legal issue with conversations that happen on this board.
Okay.
Whether you agree with it or not.
Clarify what happened.
Okay, let's
That's what I was trying to clarify.
let's keep it on track. Are you finished, Mr. Only?
Until someone else brings up something, probably.
You're finished though right now, time being? I have other trustees with comments. Ms. Chick?
Yep, so the discussion, or not the discussion, but the comment about the conditional rezoning was actually done in public at the Planning Commission meeting between the Planning Commissioner, the planner, and the rest of the board. What Mr. Only is referring to, then any conversation outside of a board meeting with any voting member of the Planning Commission or a board member is considered ex parte communication. If you're discussing your application with anybody, they would have to recuse themselves from voting because they're privy to information with the applicant that the rest of the board is not getting.
Yep.
So that, I think that's what you're referring to.
I was referring to what I heard in the
Yes.
meeting, and I heard Vidya, and that's why I went to the dumpster situation. She had mentioned, no, they have outside storage, and they have a metal dumpster. So that's kind of where I got that information of she doesn't like the outside storage, that doesn't fit this and what we're trying to do, and that's where that came from. I heard the gentleman say it out loud. You were there as well, and that's where that
Thank you.
came from.
Thank you. So I have a comment before anyone else. So I reached out to the township attorney regarding ex parte communication. It's not an issue for a board member, a planning commissioner to discuss anything with an applicant, only when it pertains to being a conflict of interest. Now, conflicts of interest are listed in the bylaws of the Planning Commission. We also have probably the similar type of scenario with conflict of interest. So you can claim ex parte. Technically, that's between more of a legal proceeding. That's how it was explained to me, like at a judge. But you're correct, though. Ethically, you want to avoid being in that situation, just as was discussed at the training session with Vidya. But just to clarify, that's what I got from the township attorney, so you can take it for what it's worth. But anyone else have comments, questions? I do regarding to the applicant, if you don't mind stepping up again. So just to clarify, though, I know that your current site, you had, correct me if I'm wrong, like 3 times that you tried to erect or get approval for a
Cold
secondary structure in the rear.
Yes.
And just to clarify, what stage did that ever get to? I believe, as I understood it from the past, because I was on the Planning Commission prior to this too, but there was an issue with the wetland distance and so forth. But if you were to pursue that with Eagle, did you ever take the steps to contact Eagle regarding the distance to the wetland?
Yes, we did. I believe it was requested that Eagle send a letter stating that everything was hunky-dory, and Eagle said, we're not going to provide that, but you're good to go, and it kind of went back and forth with that. I think where it got held up, we submitted plans multiple times, and it turned into, we need this change, we need a lighting plan, we need, just continual design. As that was going on, I think even designs were changing within the design code. So it kind of just turned into wasted.
So you're saying specifics such as a lighting plan and stuff, which is all standard on any of our site plans, but per se, the location was not denied by the state. In other words, the state didn't say that you could not put that building there.
As far as I know, it did not.
Okay, very good. That helps me out.
Yep.
Because although you may have had some scenarios with certain items on your design, doesn't mean that it was not.
No, yes, it wasn't that it was denied.
able
We could
to
have kept
happen.
going. It was just a lot of time and.
Yeah, that's an important point to clarify. That's all I'm getting at. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Anyone else have comments? Ms. Chick? Okay. Okay. I'll make a motion that the Board of Trustees deny the rezoning request for 955 East North Territorial Road based on the findings of the September 3rd Planning Commission review and the review by McKenna dated August 22nd, 2025. Supported by Chick. Any questions, comments on that motion? Seeing none, we'll do roll call vote, please, Ms. Manley.
Donner?
Yes.
Chick?
Yes.
Manley? Yes. Otto?
Yes.
Moko? Olney?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, next item. Thank you very much. Next item is old business. We have an update to consider the providing of police services to Salem Township. With that, I'll go to Mr. McDonald.
All right, for the board, I'll just give a brief background, what the timeline looks like. So this summer, Supervisor Whitaker approached Supervisor Roman and indicated that current contracts for police services in Salem were not providing the level of support desired by Salem, and inquired about the opportunity for Northfield to provide services to Salem. In late July, Supervisor Roman directed Chief Smith to conduct some initial analysis at what a contract would look like from an operational perspective and from a cost perspective. We provided this analysis to both Supervisor Whitaker as well as to the Board of Trustees on August 12th. The board motioned on the 12th to enter into a contract with Salem. On September 15th, the Salem Board similarly voted to enter into a contract with Northfield Township. As far as the timeline for that contract, we are in the process right now with the township attorney to draft that contract, which will then go to review and feedback from Salem as well as to the board. Additionally, the framework of the contract is with our liability insurers to what additional costs, if any, that would provide for the township. So I talked with our liability insurers yesterday. They have it. They're discussing with the underwriters. I expect this week we'll have some feedback. I do not have it in time for this evening. Current anticipated timeline for completion of the contract, I think, is mid to late October. And I'll continue to keep the board apprised of the timeline for the contract development. In the meantime, we believe it is necessary to hire a new officer now to begin preparing for that contract. Part of that is the next police academy begins October 13th. Training a new officer is the most time-intensive task to kind of set the conditions to be able to provide support for Salem. Eventually, an additional squad car is needed, but there is more time available for that acquisition. I will add that funding for 2 additional squad cars was in the township's FY26 budget. Funding for the additional officer was not. My recommendation, which is slightly different than in the pre-read memo, is to approve funding for the police officer now to begin the training necessary to initiate services for Salem. And I'll pause here and turn it back to Supervisor Roman.
Thank you. I'd like to go to Chief Smith for his comments.
The reason for the request to hire now is we have a very good candidate with an excellent background, and the funding for that subject to go through the police academy can be, the funds for that can be handled through our federal narcotics fund. So we have the money to do it even though it's not budgeted for that. The other aspect of it is that it's approximately 6 to 8 months to get somebody trained and on the road, and my understanding is that when Salem Township ends their contract, they have to give them at least a 6-month notice. So if they give them a 6-month notice, that's going to put us right on the timeline for the officer to be trained and then actually go right over into the service. My intention is that I want to have the officer and everything ready to go with Salem, so there is no time lapse between the county's contract and our contract with them to start the services, so they get the full service as opposed to just us responding to the runs. They'll have the patrol car and the officer in the township for their actual patrol of their township.
Thank you. And in the audience, we have Mr. Gary Whitaker, the Salem Township Supervisor. Mr. Whitaker, if you'd like to come up to the podium and introduce yourself and say a few words.
Thanks. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for, considering Salem Township being right across the border here. Some of you know, or maybe some of you don't know, that I had received a letter from our sheriff. And anyway, if you got a chance to read it, it wasn't a nice letter. I've been the township supervisor in Salem for 13 years. Most of our board members have been on for 13 years, and we feel we have a great township. We've had very little problems, and we've had, other than the sheriff's department, where we contract 2 officers to patrol Salem Township, but for a lot of months and a couple years or so, they've only been able to give us 1 sheriff. And then unbeknownst, when this all started for us to look for other avenues, they had reached out to me back early this year to say that they couldn't provide us any officers in the township. So we went from late spring to all of the summertime without any deputies in our community. The unfortunate part was that I had to find this out from my residents. There was no contact with the county sheriff's department to let us know that we were going to be without the services for 3 weeks. So that's kind of when the ball started for us to reach out and look at other avenues of public safety in our community. So I'm here to answer any questions. We just feel it should be a benefit for Northfield Township and also for Salem Township. And so I can answer any questions if any of you have them for us.
Thank you. If you can stand by, there might be.
And then just one other thing, so our other townships who also are neighbors, I have met with the supervisors there, Superior, Ann Arbor Township, Ypsi Township, Manchester. They're having all the same issues in their departments and stuff. So it's just not Salem, it's others. So I talked to Greg Dill today, the administrator of the county, and he deeply apologizes for the letter that was sent out. And anyway, so we have taken this course, and hopefully we can work a contract out together with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone have questions? Mr. Moko?
So with Washtenaw County, you guys contract with 2 deputies. Was there any checks and balances? Did they send you a schedule of when they're going to be in the township? How many, or was it just that we're going to patrol 40 hours a week times 2 guys or officers or whatnot? Or was it just, here's your bill at the end of the month, we were there?
Right. There was really no checks and balances. We have had some great deputies over the years that we back our police. People love to be in Salem. There's not a lot of issues going on, but they love to work there. They would, they would bid for the job, and it always was people to try to get into Salem. So, but as far as giving us any timeline, like when they would be there, there was no accountability. You'd find out that they'd be in training, they would be on vacations or whatever, and we're left without anybody. So, so to answer your question, there was not much that thing.
Anyone else? Mr. Only?
Do you know what your guys' fund balance currently sets at?
Our fund balance? You mean as far as what we have in the bank?
Yeah.
Well, about 25 million.
Do you think that Salem Township could fund their own police department with $25 million?
If we had to do that, I mean, it's definitely.
You have the money available that you could fund your own police department?
Correct.
Okay. That's all for now.
Anything else? I'm sorry. Yes, Ms. Chick.
So I'm assuming with Washtenaw County, you had a contract. Their contract didn't specify times and dates that they would have officers available, because they should be held to that contract.
In their contract, it provides 2 deputies for us. And they were going to work 8-hour shifts, but then after that all started, so they did provide that, but did not provide, did not let us know when they were on vacation or when they were gone, when we didn't have anybody. And then when this all started of them not having a staff to be able to provide us, there was not that communication. I mean, after a while, after we started asking questions, there was.
Okay.
Ms. Manley?
Yeah, I guess I wasn't at the August 12th meeting, so I was a little more surprised to hear about this. I did go back and watch that meeting and watched your September 15th meeting. Again, we had no knowledge of, there was no Northfield representation there, which I think would have been nice to answer questions that people had. My concern also is based on Lieutenant Powell's note that he sent to the board a couple weeks ago. It looks like we might be needing to hire more people here and doing some changes here. So I'm a little bit more concerned about what's going on in Northfield than really in Salem. And I don't know how that's going to benefit us. I don't see any kind of win-win situation here, and it's not personally in favor of it.
Okay, the win-win situation for Northfield Township is we get 2 additional officers on our staff. While they'll be assigned to Salem Township, if we have a situation that happens in Northfield Township, we have another officer that's available to assist us, and vice versa. We'll have 2 officers in our township that will be able to assist Salem Township. So it gives us 2 more officers on the department to respond to runs and actually provides more protection for both townships in the long run. The other aspect of it is that with us hiring the 2 new officers, it allows us to obtain more money for training from the state. And Lieutenant Powell's email that he put out was regarding the population growth, because as Brian Rubel said in, I think it was a planning commission meeting, our population is going to increase 30%. So when that happens, at that point in time, we're going to have to figure out how many, do we need more officers and where do we need to fill that aspect of it. Currently, once we get our last officer that's in training done, we'll be fully staffed. We'll be the only department in Washtenaw County that's fully staffed when that happens. No other agencies, they're still looking for people. So that was one of the reasons for us wanting to get this person into the academy so that we can get that ball rolling, so we have those officers ready to go for Salem. But there is some financial gain for the township with the service contract, and there's nothing lost to the township because everything is covered with the proposal.
Ms. Otto?
So the one thing I have a question about is the police academy. So we are in the process of hiring somebody to join the police academy course. So this means that the person that we're hiring does not have police background.
He has a law enforcement background, but it's not police.
Okay. So is the academy only done certain times of the year?
Yes, academy runs twice a year, so there's one in October, and I think the other one is in May. They run it twice a year, so for this person, this is the time for him to get into the academy so that he'll be done by the time this contract takes effect. So he'll go into the academy, and then he'll go into training with us, and then once he's done with training with us, he'll be ready to go.
So what happens if this contract doesn't get approved and we put this at least one person through? Could we absorb the one person in our current?
Yes, we could absorb that person. It would probably take a hit into my fund balance for about a year and a half, but we have the potential for up to 4 officers retiring in the next 2 years.
Okay.
Ms. Manley?
Yeah, my other concern was, at your meeting, somebody asked about liability. And it was said at the meeting that any liability, say that something happened in Salem Township, it would fall on Northfield Township. So that's a huge clarification that I think needs to be determined by attorney.
Mr. McDonald?
And when I had that conversation with the liability insurer, so I think your question will be answered in the course as they're looking at it, and that will be certainly something we discuss with Salem as well. So don't have an answer right now. For contract purposes, I expect we'll have an answer shortly.
Ms. Chick?
So I had a list of questions that I sent to the township manager, Mr. Roman, and both chief, that I think the public would like to hear, if I might. I'd like to read those questions and answers. And Mr. Whitaker can respond if he wishes. So my first question, of course, was, will there be any increase in cost to Northfield Township for dispatch services? And there's, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Any increase in dispatch services will be covered by Salem Township. Will there be any increase in cost to Northfield in regard to liability coverage? That question is being handled by the township manager. Any increased services will be covered by Salem Township. Is there a possibility that an incident our officer is handling in Salem can create a liability issue, and who would pay that cost if there is litigation or a claim is made? That will be also answered by the township manager, but my understanding is the liability will be handled by Salem Township. The attorney's working on it within the contract. Who pays for overtime? If an incident in Salem creates an overtime issue for officers, Salem Township would pay all overtime for incidents that occur in Salem Township. How and what portion of pension will be paid by Salem for time worked in Salem? All salary, pension, and overtime benefits will be paid by Salem Township. Who pays for the officer for court time in Salem Township, for a Salem incident? As above, it would be Salem Township. Who pays for the attorney time for a Salem incident? Do they have their own attorney for these matters? Salem Township does have an attorney. However, that question would be answered by the attorneys during contract negotiations as to who would handle it. The fees will be paid by Salem Township for any Salem incident. And I had a question about where the prisoners would be held, or any people that are detained. Northfield does not house prisoners, and the booking procedures would not be billable, as the prisoners would be processed at our station, released and/or transported to the county jail by the assigned Salem officer. Will Salem be sharing training expenses for officers hired? Yes, and the additional officers will bring in more money for officer training from the state of Michigan, as each officer is allotted a set of amount of money for training. Who's covering Salem when our officers are not there? Outside the contract service window, probably it falls on the Michigan State Police. And why are they not using the sheriff anymore? Was there a problem with the sheriff or the township? I watched both the September 15th special meeting and the September 18th meeting, I think it was as well. Anyway, at the special meeting, the question was asked about the issue with Washtenaw County Sheriff Department. And there was someone there who had asked if that information that you received from the sheriff's office could be released to the public. Can we get that as well? Sure. Okay, perfect. And then there was another lady asked, I believe it was the woman asked if the police cars could have the Salem Township logo on it. I don't think we can do that if it's a Northfield car.
Yeah, we did some research on that, and the car will look just like ours, except for the Salem unit will have whatever is determined to say Salem Detachment, Salem Unit, so that the people in that community will know that that's the car that belongs in their community.
Okay, it'll have Northfield Police, but it'll
It'll
have
look just
Salem.
like our cars, but somewhere on the vehicle, it will say Salem, whether it's detachment unit, however it works out, so that the people in the residence will know that that's the car that belongs in their township.
Okay.
It's not just Northfield being over there in Northfield.
Okay, thank you.
Like a police resource car or something, has like a little designation, like resource officer on the car.
Yeah, it's just like Nick's car, the school resource officer's car is totally different.
Yeah.
But it's the same concept, it would be, the Salem Township car, we want that car to mimic our cars because, our officers are gonna be in it, but we also want the community to understand that that vehicle belongs in Salem Township.
Ms. Otto?
I'm sorry. I just had one more.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so also at one of the meetings, someone had asked about, or someone had mentioned that the Northfield Township Police would be doing road service, I think they called it, and monitoring truck traffic. Is that what you're still expecting from Northfield Township Police as well?
Yeah, so we have like some no truck routes in our community, so we would like to have that enforced, which the county does now.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Otto?
So the one concern that I had, and mostly had to do with our pension, because as you know, we switched over that the township was no longer 10%, and we took on the larger burden of the pension fund. So my concern was, I reached out to Carlene to ask, what was covered in the pay, and she did acknowledge that the pension at 22.61, actually, it was the whole pension fund that was allocated for fiscal year 2026, is covered in that. So I just wanted the board to understand that that was covered.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Only?
So I have a difficult time making a decision tonight to put any money out from whether it's grant money that's coming to Northfield Township or money out of any of our funds without a contract being approved. And also on the board here, we're elected representatives of Northfield Township. We're tasked with being responsible with the township's money. I wasn't here when Chief Smith or Chief Bishop were hired, but we're responsible for hiring of, police chiefs, fire chiefs, and that is all in the best interest of Northfield Township and Northfield Township residents. I had spoke with Chief Smith the other day. I spoke with Mr. McDonough. I've spoke with our Washtenaw County sheriffs. And I'm really torn on this. I could see some benefits, but if there's at any point, a single dollar of Northfield Township money is spent on Salem Township, I have a big problem with that. And I think our taxpayers would too. I've spoke with a couple residents about the issue. Our Washtenaw County Sheriff is a Northfield Township resident. A a couple other residents that I spoke with that work on the county level. I had one person just flat out tell me, this sounds like a bad breakup and we're the rebound. If you guys are capable of funding your own police department, I think that should be something that you look into.
Anyone else? Ms. Chick?
Quickly, Chief, the, excuse me, hiring, outfitting, and police vehicle are budgeted already, correct? The only thing that is not is the training, or what am I?
So for the vehicle itself, we budgeted 2 vehicles for the year, so the money is there for us to spend towards those vehicles. We're not anticipating having to replace any vehicles this year, so there's $180,000 dedicated to that. So the money is in our budget to pay for this officer. We have to move money around, but the money is there to pay for this officer if for some reason the contract doesn't go through. I don't think we're gonna be hurting. We put roughly $150,000 in our fund balance this year from last year, so if you go based on track record of what's going on, the money will be there for us to supplement this officer for the remainder of the year, once he's hired and trained, if the contract fell through. The vehicle itself, that number, so the contract will specify, if you look at the proposal, every year that we have the contract with Salem Township, they are paying us for that vehicle. So basically, at the end of the 5-year contract, that vehicle, while it'll be titled to us, at the end of that contract, they will have paid for that vehicle. So, whatever the attorneys divvy that out at the end, it'll be up to the contract, the wording in the contract. But they are paying us for the vehicle in the proposal. They're paying us for the vehicle, the maintenance of the vehicle, the fuel for the vehicle. So there's not one dime in this proposal that's coming out of Northfield Township. And the only question that I can't answer is the liability side of it, but Northfield stands to gain money out of this contract, and I should say the police department stands to gain money out of this contract, and with the intent that my intention is the money that we have left over from this contract goes directly into our pension fund.
Thank you.
Ms. Otto?
So for the vehicles, we were purchasing one vehicle that's in our budget. Were we selling a vehicle?
No, we don't have any vehicle. We're not replacing any vehicle.
We're not replacing. These were just new ones that we had in our.
The capital improvement plan, which was developed by the Woodhill Group, said we should replace cars every 2 years.
Okay.
Well, we're not putting in the mileage because we have a substantial amount of cars now in the fleet. We're not rolling in the miles as much. So that's why, we have it budgeted, but we don't, unless something happens to one of our vehicles, there's really not a necessary item for us to buy another vehicle.
Yeah, so usually, you don't spend on a contract that you don't have signed, or for us, it's still in draft form. It's not even in a form that the board can review or anything like that. And, my motto is that we shouldn't spend what we don't have, or no contract, no spend. But in this situation where we have a timeline, where the officer needs to be trained in October, otherwise we're going to be moving them to May, I would be willing to go out on a limb to cover the costs for the police officer in the event that the contract is not approved or executed. Then the police officer is part of Northfield Township, and then we're not really out. I do not want to spend yet the police officer's vehicle. I know that takes longer, but we have 7 months that we have to wait for this individual to go through training. And I'm sure within that 7 months, the contract can be done, we can get a car done and everything within that 7 months.
Just so you know, a car takes approximately 3 to 4 months to complete.
Okay.
So that was the reason initially we asked for the car to be purchased now, because if we don't, we do business with a dealer in Kentucky that has them on the lot, which was one of the reasons we bought the last patrol car that we bought. If you guys remember, we used money that we had extra money from the year, so we used that to purchase that traffic vehicle. So that dealership has those cars on the lot. Whether he has those cars on the lot in 3 or 4 months, we won't know. And if that's the case, then we're talking 3 or 4 or 5 more months to get a car. So that was the reason that was on there initially. However, if we get the officer trained, you know, and then I come back and say, you know, the contract's all signed with Salem, then I can come back and tell the board that now is the time for, you know, the vehicle's there, we can still get it, let's get it so we can get it outfitted. I have no problem delaying the vehicle right now. I do have an issue delaying the officer, only because we're gonna lose him if we don't put him in the academy.
Before I go to Mr. Only, I want to say I completely agree with Ms. Otto's take on her last comment there. It's really a timeline issue. We're not at a loss of any type. And also part of this update, I don't know if Mr. McDonald mentioned, we have a draft contract. We have to go over 2 appendices in detail, which we're scheduling to do as soon as possible with Mr. Whitaker and the Salem Township attorney. So it's just a matter, probably a short period of time, not very far off, that we get that accomplished so that we'd have that document available to give to our board to review, and list all the details, so that you can see it black and white. But I completely agree with what Ms. Otto said. I think it's the most effective use to try to get the officer hired that interests the PD and process it. So, Mr. Only.
Mr. Roman or Mr. McDonough, have either of you spoke with the Washtenaw County Sheriff in regards to this in any way,
I have
shape, or
not.
form?
Mr. McDonald?
I have not, no.
So right now, you've got one side of the story in an email, right? You've got Salem Township side of the story in an email with some rebuttals in it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I'll speak to it because we were approached by Salem Township.
Yeah, no,
So any issues really are between Salem Township and the county, not Northfield Township and the county.
So in the rebuttal email, there was, I mean, unless there's some contradicting email issues with what the sheriff said, like some of your lack of coverage was by your own doing. They asked if you wanted to provide an officer out of the overtime bank, and it was communicated no. So with us, is there gonna be that communication of, do you want service? Do you want us to charge the overtime? Or we're providing you, that, like, if it's overtime, you're getting charged it? Are we asking, and then they say, oh, you didn't provide coverage, like with the county? I would hope that, and this is probably a contract when it gets in front of us, that if we're not asking, should we provide overtime? We're not asking if we should provide our coverage for a vacation. This is just built into the contract, and you will be charged, I would hope.
Can I?
No, that's not true, because in speaking with Mr. Whitaker, I told him that if we have an officer that's on vacation, because of the way the schedule works, both officers will work the same week. They will never be off the same time. So they work different days, but there will always be some, during a week period, if one officer's off, they could be gone for 2 days. If the other officer's off, he could be gone for 5 days in the week period. So when that happens, because I know that 2 months ahead of time when people take vacations, I will reach out to Mr. Whitaker and say, hey, your Salem car is going to be gone on these days. Do you want me to backfill it? And that'll fall on him to tell me, yes, I want it backfilled. Then I'll fill it and charge him the overtime.
Because with the county, the email says that you were offered that. You said, no, you didn't want coverage, and now you're blaming the county for not having coverage. So if it comes to vacation, you plan ahead, right? You got 2 months, you got whatever. When it comes to other things I think in this instance, the officer was injured on the job, or injured, whether it was on the job or not, and then providing coverage was the issue, and whether you wanted coverage or not. So, and then who is reporting to who? Who's communicating with who? I guess this might come up in the contract as well. Is our officers, they report to our police chief. Does our police chief then now report to Mr. Whitaker as well, or does Mr.
The intention is that him and I will have quarterly meetings to go over what's going on in Salem Township.
And then who's making, I guess it's just like how, I don't know how this partnership works with who answers to who communicates with who. You work for the Northfield Township, or you answer to the Northfield Township Board of Trustees, but now you also answer to him. Does Mr. Whitaker then answer to the Northfield Township trustees as well, or
Well,
do we answer?
I would think that if there's an issue with Salem Township and our police department, that he would reach out to our supervisor and handle it that way. However, if him and I are in communication and there's an issue, the first thing I'm gonna do is notify you guys that there's an issue with Salem. I mean, that falls on me. That's my responsibility. You are my bosses. I have to tell you what's going on within the township. And if it includes something that's going on in Salem, you guys, you're the first people I notify. So that aspect of it, me answering to him, I will answer to him for Salem issues. But if it's a Northfield issue that I'm not, or it's a Salem issue that I don't have the ability to handle, then I'll direct him to reach out to Supervisor Roman, and they can figure out how that needs to be handled. But I don't foresee any issues. I guess the biggest unknown right here is the liability side of it. And if the liability side of it is worked out, then there's no issues, because I'm gonna be answering to him for Salem issues and answering to you guys for Northfield Township issues.
All right. For that liability issue, what's the deal breaker? If the liability is on Salem Township, is that a deal breaker? No. If the liability found on Northfield Township, is that a deal breaker?
Well, that's gonna be up to you guys.
I
That's
think
not gonna
at
be up
this
to me.
time, we cannot do contract negotiations and
No, I'm just like,
I mean, I don't have an answer.
you're not going to be part of our contract negotiation, I don't think, Mr. Whitaker.
Can I step in real quick
Yeah,
on
yeah.
liability issues?
Yeah.
You do realize that we police in more areas than just.
Yeah, we
Northfield
provide
Township.
additional support.
We go all over when we're needed, so our liability responsibility follows us wherever we go. So, yeah, we're Northfield Township Police Department. We may be called to Salem Township. We may be called to Pittsfield Township, Ann Arbor City, residential details, right? So I think, yes, there's more liability because we're going to be in Salem Township more often. However, we as a police department and a fire department, that's what we do. We carry liability with us wherever we go, and we go to, more areas than just Northfield Township.
Essentially, you're in Salem now, responding as
Yeah.
almost every call if they're not having coverage.
So with the liability, if there is an increase, if the liability is on us and there's an increase to our liability, I would expect that increase in our liability falls on Salem Township. And we'll get to that in negotiations and
We're
contracts.
working on
Yeah,
details.
that'll be worked out within the contract.
Yes, the details are forthcoming, so.
We got decisions in front of us for a contract, and I know it's a timeline thing, but I'm just putting the things out there as a representative of the people.
Ms. Manley?
Yeah, two things. I have no idea what email you're reading, so you're privy to information that we're not.
There's not an applicant in front of us for a conditional
Right.
use or a rezone.
It's got nothing to do with that. Oh, yeah. And no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I didn't know what you were talking about because I haven't seen that letter. I don't know what email you're talking about.
So
We all just don't know it, so.
I asked for it from multiple people, and I have a FOIA request into the county for all communication between Salem Township Board of Trustees and the Washtenaw County Sheriff dating back to January.
Okay, that's fine. And then, does the union have any issues with this, or does that affect union contracts anywhere between you or the officers?
There's no union issues. That actually, it actually benefits the union because we get additional officers within the union. The only thing that will be affected is that the Salem Township detail will be, it's an not appointment, but it would be up for, like, because we have to pick shifts by seniority, the Salem Township detail is gonna be a full year. It's not gonna be like every 3 months they gotta rotate off. So the guys that pick that will be there for that year, and I'm assuming will stay there longer than that duration, because if it's senior guys, they're gonna continue to pick it if they like it. If they don't, then it'll go to the next person. So there's not a union issue with the officers as far as, they're getting the same pay, they're just gonna be patrolling Salem Township.
Mr. Whitaker?
If I can just address the trustee here.
Yes.
As far as my communication with the sheriff's department, it's their responsibility to let us know when they can provide a service. Many times, again, I've been the supervisor for 13 years, a commander would call me and ask me about overtime, and at that time, we would decide if we wanted to do that or not. Because of us contracting for 2 officers, they went down to 1 and never gave us the 2, and then they had to backtrack and reimburse us for some of this money. So there's a lot of issues that have been going on with the sheriff's department, with other communities the same way. So, and then for us to find out that we had no deputies at all is the reason why this communication broke down. So again, I'm part-time. I think most of you know I own 3 Cedars Farm. I work there. I've had another crew. So this is part-time for me. It's not like I'm at every sheriff's meeting that they have. I don't think that I need to be. I think it needs to be that they need to let me know when there's somebody hurt. Then I have to find out about it 3 weeks down the road. That's the lack of communication with the sheriff's department. And that's why when they came to us, their commander said in the late spring that they cannot provide us any deputies, and probably the whole summer, I would believe my community would expect me to look elsewhere for patrol for safety, public safety. So that's kind of what started it, but.
Thank you. Mr. Only.
In your special meeting, there was asked about 24-hour coverage and upping it to, I think, somewhere around $800,000. Would that be an entirely new contract if something like that came about?
So a contract is tentatively for 12-hour shifts every day of the week. Their current contract calls for 40 hours a week, which is only, if you do the math, that's only 5 days a week. So they're not even getting coverage for the whole week. So what we offered them was 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, at the rate that we gave them. What I told Mr. Whitaker was that at some point in time, if they decide they wanted 24-hour coverage, you can pretty much double that price, plus because there's a shift premium for those night guys. So he's aware of that aspect. If 2 years down the road, they want to go to 24-hour coverage, obviously that would have to be handled again in negotiations, because it's something totally different to bring it in, to bring the 24-hour coverage.
Ms. Manley.
One more question for you. So again, probably your top tier officers are going to want to take this position. So these amounts could change based on that salary of if it's a higher paid officer.
No, the quote that we gave Salem Township was for the highest paid officer on the department for that reason.
Okay.
If it's a senior guy and he wants to go to Salem, I have to be able to pay him without it costing us money. Okay. So I guess if our junior guy goes there, then we're going to be getting more money than we're expecting.
Okay.
Anyone else? In that case, I'd like to make a motion for the police department to hire an additional officer to start the process for Salem Township Police Service.
I'll support.
Supported by Mr. Donner. I was slow, but I didn't forget it. Thank you. Any questions, comments on the motion?
Could this motion just be to put an officer through the academy? Do we need the Salem Township portion of it? Because if the Salem Township portion doesn't work out, we're still moving forward with this, right? We're going to absorb it.
I can amend the motion.
That's what I was going to ask.
Okay. I'll amend the motion to, motion for a police department to hire an additional officer.
Still support.
Still supported. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, Ms. Manley, would do a roll call vote, please?
Only.
Yes.
Donner.
Yes.
Chick. Yes. Manley. Yes. Roman.
Yes.
Moko.
Yes.
Otto.
Yes.
7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Sure.
The only question, you budgeted for 2 vehicles, so he doesn't need to come before us if it's a budgeted expense that we've already approved for a vehicle.
But if he's using it for another township, he does.
But it was budgeted for our township, though.
So I had asked that question because the CIP part of our budget is something fairly new, as the board knows. So Mr. McDonald was then asked that question, since it's already budgeted, even though we're going to buy that vehicle and use it in Salem Township, it's still Northfield's vehicle. I still have it budgeted in my budget. If I have to replace another car, I still have that ability to do that with the second vehicle that's budgeted, that we don't have any other issues. So, I mean, I have no problem coming to the board saying, I'm ready to purchase this vehicle. Are you guys okay with me buying it now?
I did talk to the township attorney on that, and she advised there's nothing in statute. If it's budgeted, you don't have to. However, it is a best practice. So that's why I changed in my memo that I sent to y'all for that reason. So I think that I did talk to her about that. That's what she advised.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Item 2, old business, determination of funding for land preservation appraisal fees. Mr. McDonald.
So the question of using land preservation fees has come up on several occasions, but most recently during the August 26th board meeting. In some previous instances, appraisal costs for land preservation activities came out of the general fund. However, the question was raised as to whether land preservation millage could be used to fund those costs. After consultation with the township attorney and the controller, the answer is yes. You can use funds collected as part of the land preservation millage to fund those appraisal costs. Additionally, after reviewing the ordinance, the staff also determined that no adjustments to the ordinance is necessary. The verbiage, the township will pay the cost of appraisals, refers to all funds. Therefore, the staff recommends that the Board of Trustees use funds from the land preservation millage to support all appraisal fees for future land preservation efforts.
Thank you. Discussion, Mr. Only.
I motion to use funds from the land preservation millage to support appraisal fees.
I'll support. Could we, I just want to specify the township attorney's memo dated February 10th, 2025. Can I add that as a
I
amendment?
will gladly accept that amendment.
I still support. Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Can I ask one more thing, though?
Yeah,
This
I'm
has
sorry.
nothing to do with our
I think I
motion.
missed discussion.
No,
I'm sorry.
no, because it has nothing to do with what we motioned on. That's why I didn't bring it up then.
It's regarding the appraisals.
No, this is regarding the staffing. So it was brought up at the end that, of this, and it talked about the newsletters and consulting are not specific stated in the ordinance. But staffing of the LPC appears to be allowed under the ordinance. The LPC staffed the consultant by Barry Lonick. The difference is our contract with Barry Lonick, or is our contract with Tremor Ecology and Land Services LLC? And I think it's with the LLC.
Pretty sure it's with Tremor.
Yep. So since it's with an LLC, that's a consultant. That's not a staff. Staff is Social Security number, LLC is an EIN number. So there is a difference. I think, and I would ask to have the attorney check that, because that's the difference between staff and consultant. It says after the fact, but he says up in here in this one sentence, other costs such as newsletters and consulting are not specifically stated in the ordinance, but staffing is. So that to me is, those are two different things. One's a 1099 and one's a W-2.
Mr. McDonald will be checking into that, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on, new business, item 1, ordinance 25-05, amendment to standards for fencing. Mr. McDonald.
In the last couple months, there have been numerous requests for exemption to the fence requirement around in-ground swimming pools. Usually the applicants point to the building code, which highlights an either-or requirement of a locking electric pool cover or a fence around the pool. The township ordinances have always specified that an in-ground pool needs a fence. The stricter requirement applies, so in this case, it is our zoning ordinance which requires a fence. In response to these requests, the zoning administrator refined the zoning ordinance language to ensure there was no room for confusion regarding the ordinance. At the Planning Commission meeting on the 3rd, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to adopt the amendment to Section 36-715 of the zoning ordinance. The staff recommends the same today.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Chick?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that we've always had a fence ordinance for in-ground pools. It was just required some more clarification because we had this question of being a little not in conflict with, but different than our building code. So the red line language there is what we've added as an amendment. It's not a new ordinance, so. I'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance to amend Section 36-715 of Northfield Township zoning ordinance to provide clarification on the standards for offenses by authority of Public Act 110 of 2006 as amended. The Township of Northfield, Washtenaw County, Michigan hereby ordains, and then there is the amendment.
I support. We'll say support by Roman. Any questions, comments on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, excuse me, we have to do roll call vote. Ms. Manley?
Donner?
Yes.
Chick?
Yes.
Otto?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Manley? Yes. Moko?
Yes.
Olney? Yes. Thank you.
Passes 7-0. Next item 2, consider request from Jason Ibrahim requesting a letter of support for a grant application for development of 75 Barker. Mr. McDonough.
So the staff met with Mr. Ibrahim and Revitalize LLC on September 10th, and we also met with Mr. Ibrahim again this afternoon to discuss the project on 75 Barker. Mr. Ibrahim recently retained the services of Revitalize LLC, a pre-development consulting firm that helps developers find gap financing for their projects in Michigan. Revitalize LLC is applying for the My Neighborhood program, which is a blend of state and federal funding in response to regional action plans and is in strategic alignment with the statewide housing plan. Program funding is used for housing activity components. The grant application is due on the 1st of October for the My Neighborhood 3.0 program, with notification to the applicant we expect mid to late October. Mr. Ibrahim requested as part of the application a letter of support from the township, which was in your pre-read packet. Revitalize LLC mentioned during our meeting on the 10th that a letter from the township carries weight during consideration of funding. Mr. Ibrahim's escrow is in good standing with the township, and we recommend approval. And of note, the township attorney did review the letter of support and has no legal objections.
Thank you. I see Mr. Ibrahim's here. Would you like to make comment?
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you again. Nice to see you all. Just that this is greatly needed to help fund the project, and we greatly appreciate your vote on this.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? I have comment. And I'll bring it up again. With all due respect to Mr. McDonough and his recommendation, I for one will not be in support. A permit was issued in June with no apparent progress on the project, and it's my opinion that the next deadline for the contract will not be met without another extension. It's also my opinion the township should purchase back the property and demolish it as per the contract. So that's my comment. Any others? Do I hear a motion then?
I'm going to just make a comment.
Sure.
We've had Somer has had numerous pushback, and that isn't due to this board at all. It is due to our, and I'm going to say it, it's due to our prior township manager. And we have caught him on several incidences where he was impeding on the progress of this. This is the reason why the board made decisions to move forward. The board has no interest, will not get anything if we buy it back and demolish it. We will get nothing from it. Actually, it'll be an expense for us. So for us to buy it back, demolish it, and bring it in as an asset to the township, we will gain nothing by it. I am not in this to give a red carpet to 75 Barker, but I think the board needs to support the development of 75 Barker and to keep it.
Thank you. I have a response to that, but I'll keep it brief. So there has been, you can't really blame anything since June 2nd when they obtained the permit. Like I said, there hasn't been any apparent progress. So that is by no means a prior manager or supervisor's effect. But what the township would gain is removing a dilapidated structure, elimination of that, and possibilities of other things. So to me, that's a benefit. Although you also have a legit concern regarding the cost of it. But I think, my opinion is I've had enough of it, but, and it's not just my opinion, it's others I've spoken with, as I said before, so simply that. So, anyone else? Mr. Only.
Yes, if, Mr. Ibrahim, could you share, has there been any progress since the permits were obtained? And if there hasn't been any progress, maybe the reason for no progress since June?
There has been progress since the permit. The place is completely gutted, cleaned. The all upstairs has been all new plywood since the rotted floorboards are there. Everything's been plywooded. There was a couple of weak beams that have been resupported with new posts. So we're getting bids for all the framing and everything else that comes with it, with the mechanicals. There's been gas upgrade already. The consumers has been in there, upgraded the lines. DTE is in contact with my electrical contractor for an upgrade. Everything is on order. So there has been some movement, and this new grant to me was brought up, and we're approaching it. And it greatly will help this thing. And of course, as Ms. Otto said, this has been years in the progress, and costs just keep going up and up and up and up. Yes.
So with that, does Mr. Roman, I mean, you may not have been aware of the progress that was made. Now that you're aware of the progress, that may or may not change your view of
I
it.
wish him well. I hope he gets it done by the deadline.
So the more information we have, the better decision we can make. So there has been progress.
And Kirk was on site, the building official. No, we were constantly in contact. He visited the site a few times. He was very happy, and I think he emailed the board of the progress.
So with that, I'd like to make a motion.
Hold on, we have more.
Can we have the discussion after the motion?
Oh, sure.
I mean, I'd like to make a motion for the board to submit a letter of support for Mr. Ibrahim predicated on bringing his, sorry, let me restart. I'd like to make a motion that the board submit a letter of support for Mr. Ibrahim for a grant with Revitalize LLC.
Thank you.
By Manley. Any questions, comments on the motion? Ms. Chick?
Mr. Ibrahim?
Yes.
The Michigan Neighborhood Program grant, what is the dollar amount that you're applying for?
We're going for the maximum. I think it's about $100,000 a unit. Not necessarily we might get it, but we might get part of it.
Okay. So, and Plan B, if you do not get the grant?
We're going forward with it,
Okay.
absolutely. We'll take on a bigger debt, so.
And the deadline for filing was October?
October 1st, when all applicants go in, but we'll be one of thousands, of course.
Sure.
And funding will run out pretty soon. So
Do you know when they're going to make a determination?
usually they say there's a 2-week window for application, about another 2 weeks for review. So hopefully towards the end of October, maybe early November, we have an answer if we're considered or not. Because those applicants usually, sometimes, not every one of them 100%. They might be missing some information. It might bounce back to us, needing more information, what have you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other comments on the motion? Mr. Moko?
I really don't have any issue going forward with this motion. I don't think you're far off, Larry, on a lot of it, but, this doesn't have any effect on any other motion we've made. And then we're giving you guys all the support that we can give.
We greatly appreciate it.
I just feel like we got nothing to lose if you get this. Hopefully it helps you
Absolutely.
move forward.
It'll make us move forward faster, honestly.
Any other comments? See none. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. Passes 6-1. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Good luck, gentlemen. Okay, item 3, designate SEMCOG delegate and alternate, Mr. McDonough.
So the township has two primary professional organizations. There's a couple of others, but the two primary are the Michigan Township Association, MTA, and then Southeast Michigan Council of Government. The dues are in your pre-read. Those have already been paid. Really, SEMCOG's purpose is to unite all levels of government across the Southeast Michigan area to create lasting regional solutions. As part of that membership, we provide a delegate, but the bylaws of SEMCOG is that the delegate has to be a board member and then a alternate member. What the delegate alternate would do, one of those two votes at General Assembly meetings. The next General Assembly meeting for SEMCOG is October 23rd. I've looked at the agenda. I don't think there's any votes that are occurring, so not necessarily pressing for this particular one, but there's usually 3 annually that are held. So I think the spring one is one where there's some votes on bylaws and legislative priorities that SEMCOG will pursue on behalf of all of its members. So really, right now, we don't have anybody on the roster as the delegate or as the alternate. So I do plan on going to the October 23rd meeting because there's some grant programs that are going to be some breakout sessions during the day that'll be helpful for me to understand those. I think there's some opportunities in the community. And then I think holistically for both, just to provide towards when we have to repay the dues next summer, provide what's the value to the township. You can see the map for SEMCOG specifically. Washtenaw County is about 50-50. That one's only $1,500. MTA is $8,000, which is a little more hefty, but just what are we getting from our memberships so the board can make an informed decision as we get into the summer. So really right now, I'd recommend myself as the alternate, but if there's 2 board members that want to be a delegate and alternate, it's not a big issue to me one way or the other.
Question, though, the delegate does have to be an elected person.
The delegate does have to be an elected official.
Okay, with that, I must ask, is there any trustee willing to do so? If not, I'll fill in for that position, and Mr. McDonald could be alternate, but Ms. Chick?
Yeah, I think it's really important. We haven't had good representation at SEMCOG over the last few years. There is money on the table when you attend these SEMCOG and have representation for the township. So I think we might be losing out a little bit. I agree that, we give it a chance and see if it actually benefits us to decide whether or not we're going to continue with it. But I think that we should probably have somebody there now that's actually doing an evaluation and being an advocate for our township, because like I said, there hasn't been anybody there. So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Larry Roman as the SEMCOG delegate.
I'll support.
Do you want to also add the alternate on the same motion?
I can do that, and I would like to also amend my motion to appoint Mr. McDonough as the alternate to SEMCOG.
I'll support.
Still supported. Any questions, comments on that motion? Mr. Moko?
I think this is great because I think we've gotten 0 value from SEMCOG in the 5 years I've been on the board.
Right.
And if it were up to me right now, I'd run like heck from it. So yeah, I think $1,500, we'll see what we get, and probably get nothing. Even though I know there's money on the table, but none for Northfield that I've seen. I know there's grants and all kinds of stuff out there.
There is.
But we have not leveraged any of it.
Nope.
So one of the things that I just wanted to talk about this is because one of the things that we have always wanted to do on East Shore is to fix the sidewalk there, is to make a motorized pathway. That's the only thing that we could do in that area because of the way the sidewalk meets the road. I mean, literally meets the road. So we can only put a motorized pathway, which means it has to be 10 feet wide. SEMCOG has the money, and we've never gone after it. When we first looked into doing that sidewalk, it was going to cost us $1 million. Today, it's probably 4 times that. I don't even know how much it is, but I know it's a lot of money, and we truly owe the people of our township to fix that sidewalk.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I think the sidewalk's actually in the right-of-way.
I think it is too.
There is.
I think it's actually like the road, but.
So, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Go to announcements. Whitmore Lake Farmers Market, last market of the season, September 28th. Great Whitmore Lake Bake Off Cookie Competitions, Scarecrow Contest, Whitmore Lake Public School Homecoming Parade is September 26th. Well, with that, we'll go to petitions and communications. Anyone wishing to address the board may do so now. Seeing none. Board member comments. Mr. Only.
Yes, I just ask that the letter from Linda Pomorski be added to our minutes for tonight's meeting that was sent to the board. If a copy is needed, I can forward it to you or forward it to our secretary that handles the minutes. That was sent on behalf of Quality Air as one of their representatives. I think it should be added to our packet under minutes because it's information that was provided to all of the board members. I'd also like to ask that the email from the Washtenaw County Sheriff that was sent to Mr. Gary Whitaker be also included in our packet. I believe Mr. McDonough already has a copy of that. Just so it's on record, Mr. Whitaker in his last meeting said that he would make it publicly available, so I don't think there's any issues there. Also with tonight's motion to hire a police officer to go through the academy, at this time, we've hired a police officer for Northfield Township, and we'll see where that leads. On a completely different note, I've had some conversations with people in the community over the last, I don't know, a couple of years, but now as an elected official. I think at some point, we need to look at what a Department of Public Works looks like at this township. And I don't really know where to start that conversation or start that process. So I just wanted to bring it up tonight. I think last time we talked about lawn care and snow removal, we're talking over $100,000 a year. And that sounds like a really good chunk of money that we could start a public works department. If that public works department starts out as, part-time and maybe it's part of the wastewater treatment plant, I really don't know. But I definitely think it's something we need to look at. We're looking to put millions of dollars into a park next to the lake, and we have no way to care for it. Right now, our wastewater treatment plant empties the trash cans there. No, they don't anymore. At one point they were, because it was in our reports, emptied trash cans. So now maybe the Parks and Recs is doing it. So I get we've got a long way in this township with volunteers and boards and committees, but we're putting a lot of money into a park. We're talking about a pavilion. We're talking about a boardwalk. We're talking about a bathroom facility. And if we're not going to talk about somehow to maintain it or upkeep it, we're wasting our money. And we need to protect our investments. Right now, our lawn care provider, up until Sunday at the farmer's market, it hadn't rained in 2.5 weeks. That grass was burnt, scalped. It's mowed every single week, regardless of whether it's needed or not. And we're paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for them just to blow dead grass clippings. And there's little to no oversight on that. They're scheduled to mow it weekly. They mow it, they charge us. And we're just throwing away money there. So if that's maybe a motion is needed at some point for our manager to look into that, or I really don't know how to go about it, but I think it's a conversation that we need to get started with because we're we're about to spend a lot of money on a park and other entities. We've got one of our board members who's putting flower pots on Main Street out of his own pocket, who's maintaining flower pots, who's, Mr. Donner and myself, we went down and cleaned the streets last fall. Shovels, brooms, picking, and we can only get so far with volunteers as the township's about to grow. We're about to add 3,000 people to the community. The conversation needs to start now. That's all I have.
Mr. Moko.
I don't have much. The letter that we got from the police department, I think I took it a little bit the wrong way from Lieutenant Powell. When it first came out, it made it sound like the safety, it was the tone, I took the tone a little bit wrong, but after conversation I had with Dave, I think the intent was, instead of being so reactionary, we needed to look at stuff before, when we choose an action, like putting a gravel parking lot without a street light behind the post office, and we don't have even a sign on the park that says hours are dusk till dawn. I think we're trying to do a lot of things, but we're not doing them maybe in the correct manner. I think when we do something, we need to, Chris is involved, or Chief Bishop's involved on stuff to make sure it meets fire code, and I know you guys are all involved, but I think we need to look at putting lighting in there. Stuff like, we're adding improvements, I'll say, that could turn into detriments, and we need to look at the full picture, and especially.
Are you particularly saying about the park?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, so you do know that this board told the Park and Rec not to do anything until the PC.
Ms. Otto, hold up.
It's done though, but all I'm saying is lighting. I mean, stuff like that. We need to really look at things instead of attracting possible victim, or you know what I'm saying. Either way, any which way you look at it, we need to talk to public safety when we do things also. Get them involved. I mean, get their opinion. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Ms. Manley?
Yeah, just to remind everybody, there will be a November election. There is no early voting through the county. Absentee applications are in the mail, and people on the permanent ballot list those ballots will be out in the mail this week.
Thank you. Ms. Otto?
Okay, so I will comment. We do involve the police and fire department on things that we have to do in the park, but this board has said that we cannot do any more work in that park. We cannot break ground until.
Parking lot's been there forever.
Hold up. Just the same for everyone. Please keep it.
We cannot break ground until the Planning Commission approves the design of the park.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm telling you, there are things that we want to do, and there's things that we understand need to get done, but we can't do them.
It's not discussion, please. Let's keep the comments. Thank you.
So the only other thing that I wanted to let the board know is that, yes, the Parks and Rec will be bringing something to the first week in October, our first board meeting in October. We are going to bring an agenda item that has to do with the budget. So we are going to bring some items to the board that we really think that we need to address, even though we can't do it at this time. We are wanting to put a timeline in place. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Ms. Chick?
I'm going to comment on the comments, but I'll be brief. To Mr. Olney's comments regarding a DPW, totally correct that once we start putting in amenities at the park, we are going to have some kind of maintenance plan and maintenance funding in place, because currently we have nothing. We have no maintenance funding for that park. We've owned it since 2016, and we've been piecemealing things as we go along and having volunteers help take care of things. But at some point, it's going to be too much for volunteers, and it's going to have to be done on a regular basis. Totally the reason why we wanted to sell the back 10 acres was to get that $1 million, put it in a fund for maintenance or DPW, and make sure that we've got some funding for the future gaining interest. That's one option. Other than that, we could ask for millage, but millages aren't going well so far. Also, in regard to the site plan, you are correct. We couldn't do any kind of lighting until, actually, the site plan comes from the Planning Commission, actually, any kind of amenities going in the park. I also want to, I brought up for, as an encouragement from Mr. Powell, safety letter. I did mention to the Planning Commission that we should consider making sure that we are including the police department in conversations like we do with the fire department on design or whatever is applicable to the safety of a development or whatever is coming into the township, that the police department should have some kind of input. So I did put that out there. Also, in regard to Park and Rec, we did bring it up at the Planning Commission about an appointee from the Planning Commission to Parks and Rec. We could not get one person that could commit to it full-time, so two people offered to do it, and you had said something about you weren't sure if it was okay in the bylaws. But when we asked last time...
We're open to it.
Okay, Elmer said that everything was a go, so I'm going to ask that it's on the next agenda that we do that appointment.
Yeah, we're open to it.
Okay, that's all I got.
Mr. Donner.
Nothing for me tonight.
Chief Smith.
Just want to remind everybody that homecoming parade is Friday, and Main Street will be closed from Living Water, the railroad tracks, until up to 7 Mile for the parade to go through town. I just want to put that out there. It seems like some people don't realize the parade's going on that day, and we have to shut the road down for the safety of everybody involved.
Thank you. Chief Bishop? I only have two brief...
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm chatty tonight. The Planning Commission held a visioning session at the farmers market this past weekend, but we kind of got rained out, and we did not have very much participation. So I'm hoping that we can do something like put the survey, it's not really a survey, it's just basically what would you like to see in the township in the way of design online, so that more people can participate, because right now we don't have much, and I don't know what else our option is. So, but we do want input from the public. Yeah, but yeah. And for the Planning Commission's purposes, there was probably, what, a handful of people that actually made any comment, so.
So, my turn. So a quick touch upon a couple items. Mr. Only, his comments about Department of Public Service or Department of Public Works. It's one of the items that I had touched upon with Mr. McDonald that we need to do feasibility on. So something forthcoming may be coming soon. Also, as Ms. Chick indicated, in relation to Lieutenant Powell's email, I believe the police should be reviewing the site plans as brought to the PC, just as the fire department does, just for safety input, any other inputs that would concern safety. And that's something we hadn't had in the past, and I think it'll be a big improvement on some of the items that Mr. Powell's alluding to. Although on our park, that was, as you know, we still don't have an official site plan, so but that will be a point of action when we do get to that point, which is shortly. Other than that, I'd like to thank the people that came out to the Business Expo on Sunday. Mr. McDonald, Ms. Carlisle were there. I was there for a couple hours. It rained after I left, so, but there were some people going through, so.
Bored by the time I got over there, I go. "No,
With that, just one last comment, and going in the future, I'd like to keep the comments to comments and not provide discussion. We can't cover all of it, the camera, like the person in the audience and whatever, the camera shifts. So we'll try to keep it strictly as comments and respect each other's time. I make a motion to adjourn. The loudest one was Mr. Only, I heard. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.